Alright, so in this video we're going to start looking at human evolution, at least the first couple of things related to it. And in order to do so, we might just check where we're at in terms of the study design. And remember, we're down here pretty much towards the end of, not there, pretty much towards the end of Area of Study 2 of Unit 4. So just coming up to the last dot point or so. We're looking at this one, hominin evolution, and we'll get to know what this word hominin actually means in this video. And there's 2 points here. The first one we want to look at in this video, or at least get our head around, the shared characteristics which define primates, hominoids, and hominins. So hopefully you've already got a bit of an idea about what a primate is, but we'll work out what hominoids and hominins are, and that'll be part of the aim in this video, is defining those two different words. The second part of this dot point looks a little more ominous, but it's not as bad as it sounds. We need to be across the major trends in hominin evolution from genus Australopithecus to genus Homo, including morphological, structural, and cognitive development resulting in cultural evolution and the rise of technologies. So that sounds like a bit, but we'll see. It won't be too much. We've got some ways of dealing with that stuff. So let's get into it. We're looking at the human evolution PowerPoint, which you can find under the hominin evolution section of the subject website. And we start with some lovely pictures of human evolution and a few funny ones there, a little bit of a joke just to get us started with our human evolution. Don't mind if I do, but let's get into it and work out where we fit. And this first slide is really just about building up our understanding of the classification of humans, reminding us about where we fit in terms of our taxonomy. You don't need to recall all of this stuff, but it's going to put some of the key words into context. For example, that first keyword, primates, is we need to know shared characteristics of primates. So recognizing that we are in the order primate, when we are one of the mammals, of course. And then underneath the level of primate, because primate's a pretty big classification, includes all the monkeys and all the apes, well, underneath primate is the superfamily, the hominoids, and that's essentially all of the apes. And humans are actually regarded as an ape. We would classify ourselves as that type of animal. And so hominoids is just kind of a more specific group found in the primates. And then we get to the family hominids, which is a bit of a more specialized groups of the apes. And then we get down to tribe of the hominins. Now, we don't need to remember that this is a tribe, but we're just putting into context where the word hominin comes from. And hominin is referring to modern humans, but all of our extinct relatives, our extinct recent relatives anyway, all of the kind of human-like ancestors that have been on this planet. So we got, and then I think the last thing on here is, of course, we're in genus Homo because we're species Homo sapien, and Homo is the modern humans and some of our very close ancestors who have now extinct. But this is putting into context where those three words come from: primates, hominoids, and hominins. We need to work out what some of their shared characteristics are. So first of all, we'll just remind ourselves of what shared characteristics of mammals are. It says we don't need to know this on the study design, but I just think it's interesting to go back and look at them, and plus it's great pictures of mammals here. Mammals are one of the most diverse groups of organisms on the planet. There's about 5,500 species of mammals, and they're in the sea, and they're in freshwater environments, in the air, and on the land, and in the trees. They're all over the place. But there's some features that all mammals have. So all warm-blooded, you might recall this. You probably covered this stuff back in primary school, I reckon. Warm-blooded vertebrates, so we've got a backbone. We give birth to live young. I've got the asterisk on there, of course, because there's 3 species of mammal that don't give birth to live young. They actually lay eggs. See if you can work out what it is. Bonus question. And hair or fur over their body, which so all mammals have a hair or fur. Even whales, which don't look like they've got a fur, do have fur. And if humans, of course, have got reduced level of fur, more reduced or less reduced, depending on the individual. And we have milk-producing mammary glands, and our lower jaw is made of a single bone, okay? And we've got 3 bones in the middle ear. That's like one of the ways of classifying a mammal, 3 bones in their middle ear. But what we want to get to is the primates. So we need to know some of the shared characteristics of primates. I've got some of our good primate friends here, the orangutan and the tarsier, and the poor old proboscis monkey just looks ridiculous. And I'm not sure what this is. Maybe a capuchin, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, one thing, or in fact a few things I can say about primates is that they all have dexterous hands with opposable thumbs. So when we're looking at these characteristics, we don't want to just say, oh, that's great, they've got, dexterous hands, which means we can move our fingers around and we can grasp onto things and hold them and grip them, and we've got an opposable thumb, which helps us do that as well. We don't want to just take that for granted. We want to think about, constantly want to be thinking, how are these advantages? How do these convey a selective advantage for us in our environment? And I'm pretty sure you could think about how hands are going to be a selective advantage. We've got relatively large brains. Again, you could probably think about how that is an advantage as well. And you'll see that large brains will be a continuing theme in the development of humans. Probably one of our most unique and special features is our exceptionally large and complex brains. Well, it didn't just start with our species. It's a continual progression that we see from the primates through to the apes and then through to the hominins, our recent ancestors. We've got a flexible skeleton, which is going to be advantageous if you're swinging around trees like a number of primates are, or if you're a human, you need to get around all kinds of environments. You need to be able to run, you need to be able to avoid predators and catch prey, and so a flexible skeleton will help you do that. Those are really three key common shared characteristics of primates. Those would be the ones that you would want to note. I've included some other ones here just because why not? We've got flattened nails. Primates don't have claws. We've got flat nails on our fingers. We've got stereoscopic 3D color vision. Wow, coming right at you. Which of course is going to help us with depth perception and detecting things in our environment. And we've got a small number of offspring with relatively long gestation period, and gestation is kind of like a fancy word for pregnancy period. So a small number of offspring means that we don't have heaps of kids. We're not like rabbits or mice who just have just pump them out brood after brood after brood. We put our efforts into producing high quality offspring. So lots of energy into producing offspring that are going to survive for hopefully a much longer period of time. And long gestation means that generally when they're born, they're much more developed. They're ready to go as soon as they're born. And interestingly, humans are actually the one exception to that, because our young are born relatively undeveloped for a primate. We fit into the primate gang. Here's our family of primates, and we've got our primate ancestor back here at about 50 million years ago, and of course that's an evolutionary ancestor that is now extinct, but at one time there would have been the original primate, and there would have been a population that then over time spread to different areas of the land, established new populations, different selective pressures, we get speciation going down, and you get a whole range of new species. And we know that the lemurs and lorises broke off early, and we know lemurs are now restricted to Madagascar, and we got the tarsiers, which are really cool, and those two groups are quite different to the rest of the mammals, so we call them prosimians, and we refer to the rest of them, the primates. We refer to the rest of the primates as simians, but tarsiers and lorises and lemurs broke off quite early. Then we got the monkeys, New and Old World, and then we got the apes, and gibbons, orangutans, gorillas, and chimpanzees. So here's some of our primate friends. Have a look at them, check them out, choose your favourite. We got a lot of these at Melbourne Zoo as well. Ai is one of my top 5 scariest animals of all time. I'll reveal my other 4 in subsequent videos. New World monkeys, these are the best monkeys by far. Look at them, the capuchin monkey, the cotton-head tamarin, not those guys, no, these guys, the spider monkey, the golden lion tamarin. We got lots of these at the Melbourne Zoo. I think I like them because they're small, they're agile, and they're small and agile because they're suited to the rainforest lifestyle. You can see that they're generally, most of their range is in the Amazon and the other associated rainforests, so they love to get around the canopy, need to be quick and nimble. Certainly not my favourite monkeys would be the Old World monkeys. Remember, New World refers to the Americas, Old World refers to Asia, Africa and Europe. So these guys are found in Asia and Africa, and they tend to be a lot bigger and generally just quite a bit more ugly than the other monkeys. So not a huge fan, but no disrespect, maybe that's your style. And then, so our specific group is the hominoids, our specific group of primates. So we are technically an ape. And here's our other ape friends, and you can tell just by looking at them that they're a little bit different to the other primates. So some of their features. Our posture of the apes is partially, or if you like us, fully erect, fully upright. And that has massive benefits for us. It means that our hands have been freed up, and that's no more so than in humans. Our hands are freed up to complete tasks, to carry things, manipulate food, look after our young, and do a whole range of different things. That's a massive step in the evolutionary progression of humans. We've got, again, larger body size and brain. Larger body size, we can think about how that's an advantage, helping us fight off predators and capture prey. And we talked about the large brain before, helping us complete complex cognitive tasks. Well, our locomotion in the apes is, well, if you're human, it's by bipedalism, bi meaning two, pedal meaning legs, we walk on two legs. And if you're a gibbon or a chimpanzee, it might be brachiation, swinging from the trees. And if you're a gorilla, knuckle walking. And a couple of other bonus features. Remember, the underlined ones are the kind of key features that you should remember. And the bonus ones, no tail in apes. Yeah, monkeys have tails, apes don't have tails. So chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, they're not monkeys, they're apes, they don't have tails. And rib cage is flattened, whatever. All right, here's our apes. There's where you find them. Orangutan, gorilla, chimpanzee, gibbon, good stuff. All right. But we are hominins, and we are the only hominin that is alive today. All the others have gone, but they all have particular features, or at least all those that have been around. And there have been up to about 24 different species of hominin on the planet before we got here, and that have all gone extinct now, and we're the only survivor. So we're all bipedal, purely walking around on two legs. Again, large brain is a key feature. Where did that one come from? Fine hair. So we're starting to lose some of that hair. And you can see why. We're developing clothes and things like that. So, we don't really need hair, and hair has some disadvantages that we'll look at later. We've got a reduced brow ridge, which is our eyebrow ridge. It has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. We've got small jaws and teeth because now we can manipulate our food. We can cut it up with tools. We can cook it in the fire. So we don't need big teeth and jaws to chomp down on our food. And we've got a nose and chin. Hooray for us. And complex social behaviour, of course. So those are some key features of hominins that we'll get to know a little bit more about. We'll be spending most of the time, when we look at human evolution, in looking at the progression of the hominins from Australopithecus to the genus Homo. Of course, when we diverged from the chimps 7 million years ago, depending on who you're talking to, modern humans didn't just suddenly appear 6 million years ago when our paths split from the chimps. We've only been around for the last 200,000 years. There's been plenty of other hominins between that split to us in the modern day. Things like Paranthropus shows up here and there. We've got the Ardipithecus, and you'll see a number of different groups of hominins show up. The ones we need to be worried about are Australopithecus through to genus Homo. So the other ones, we don't, Paranthropus and Ardipithecus, we won't have to worry about. Now this tree is a little bit kind of simplified. In reality, things are a bit more complex and there's a lot more gaps because the fossil record is very incomplete. So you don't have to worry about putting the story together. In fact, this is from a VCAR exam and it shows that we don't actually know the story. There's different ways that it's been interpreted. All we'll need to know is some of the key players along the way, and we might finish by looking at some of those, or skip some of that, and finish by looking at some of the key hominins that you will get to know in very basic detail. We'll know the Australopithecans, the very first hominins, or the first ones that we need to worry about, 4.2 million years ago. Then we'll look at the key members of genus Homo. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and then the lovely Homo sapiens at the end. And that's the order in which they occur. You don't need to worry about any of the other members really. You don't need the dates of these, and you don't need too many specific features. What we'll be looking for is the trend in their evolution. So we'll finish that there, and we'll follow up next week by looking at the trend in hominin evolution. All right.